went to the woods because I wanted to live deliberately. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. To put to go all that was not life, and not when I come to die, discover that I have not lived. On August 11, 2014, 63-year-old Robin Williams committed suicide. Among the film and the television works he left on the world, the most classical one is undoubtedly Dead Poets Society. Just by looking at the title, many people might miss this movie because they mistake it for a horror film. However, on Douban, more than 800,000 people gave it a high score of 9.2. The first scene of the movie starts with a lit candle. The candle represents of the character of Mr. Keating. As a white light of freedom, he illuminates the thoughts of his students. But when the camera pans up, two solemn-faced old men appear, along with the students' uniform clothes and neat actions. Background sound of footsteps and clashing of metal device set off the documented and rigid atmosphere of the school. The close-up of tradition when the flag is raised, accompanied by the plaintive sound to the bagpipes. As the precision marches, further deepens the impression of traditional and style genius. The student and well-done academic come from prestigious schools and have excellent grades. If they follow the routine, most will lead glamorous lives and eventually teach their next generation in the same monotonous manner. Neil's father said, "This represents the life and the opportunity he has always envisioned." Mr. Keating, whether is asking students to tear up books, to teach them to think independently and have the courage to deny authority, taking the students to stand on the podium to introduce them to view the world from different perspectives, or telling the story of Dead Poet Society to guide the students to seek freedom and what they want to do. Teaching methods are like Whitman's poems filled with the breath of freedom and patience. He is sometimes full of enthusiasm and sometimes unrestrained, teaching students according to their aptitudes for teenagers. The word passion is widely demonstrated in the movie. A teacher who promotes liberalism leads a group of teenagers to liberate their nature, feel happiness in poetry, and release their vitality. However, the more exciting the process is, the sadder the ending will be. The teacher taught them to pursue their ideas and freedom, but failed to teach them how to stick to them. Neil, a Christian romantic, had his life heavily influenced by his father's domineering culture. Upon Mr. Keating's arrival, Neil began to cultivate the aspiration to pursue his dreams. Faced with the impossibility of living in accordance with his glorious aspiration, he ultimately chose to make a defiant stand, so his ultimately death. At the end of the story, among the two students who are the first to stand on the podium following the teacher, one died under the indirect operation of traditional education, and the other began to resist and was forced to drop out. The teacher was also expelled from the school, and the other students could only continue to receive formulaic textbooks and indoctrination on the accessible line. Some people say that ideas automatically died at the muzzle of reality. But is that really the case? The students who was too afraid to recite poems stood on the desk first, and the members of the Dead Poets Society also overcome their old horrors to tradition. Standing on the desk and looking at the world from a different perspective is a sacred code for conduct that only Mr. Keating and his classmates understand. The students couldn't prevent the tragic ending, but they still stood on the desk, one after another, to bring the story to an end. In this sense, the significance of education finally took on a concrete form. Education doesn't have to put learning first. The establishment of sacred and the shaping of thoughts are truly important. Even when teenagers keep their feet on the ground, they should still look up at the sky. Educators must never let young students be trapped in quiet desperation. Most of the time, dreams are not a smooth path, so more related elders will encourage you to choose an easy life. However, a path with an obvious end seems to lack a lot of patience and fun for teenagers. The meaning of life lives in independence, and the essence of education is independent thinking. These two are undoubtedly similar. Many people compare the chorus with deep poets society. In my heart, the chorus brings the lost children back to the right road, while that poets society more profoundly reveals the confused on the right path. Although it's destined to be a tragedy, Mr. Kidding still guided a group of confused children through his own actions, enabling them to become the masters of their own life. Mr. Kidding left a permanent mark on the traditional world, and that's already wonderful.